Adventures of Young and Holt, Issue 62, 6-Round Cylinder. I'm your narrator, Ernest Wick, intrepid reporter for the Tombstone Epitaph. In this issue, Porter and Joshua reunite to discuss Porter's current state of being, that being out of touch with his special abilities. But Joshua's got a few other things on his mind, particularly the looming showdown with the two-faced woman. Perhaps a night of mild and I'm sure harmless entertainment will set both their minds at ease. The sun is beginning to set, so we'd best see where they're at.
Porter is going to head back very quickly to try and get near Joshua, who has a gun and knows how to use it. Porter's coming down the street back from his meeting, and he's kind of, he's kind of brushing at the lapel pin here and there, and fiddling with something in his pocket as he's always looking back over his shoulder. Because he's just like, he feels like something's actively hunting him now. Hence, he's walking towards. He doesn't actually see Joshua until he gets right there, practically. Joshua! Just the man I want to talk to.
Joshua kind of snaps out of his daydream, looks up at Porter, and puts his Lamat away in his underarm holster. Porter, you're seeming anything wrong?
Wait, so this is what, noonish? Late morning?
We'll say it's late in the day. The sun is getting low in the sky. It's actually getting very cool out.
Can we talk in the upstairs?
Joshua looks around for trouble. Doesn't see anything right away. Taps out his pipe on the arm of the rocking chair, knocking the ash out of it. Stows it away. Sure. Lead on.
So, Porter, before he closes the door behind him, he sort of looks out to either side and then closes the door. So,
take your time.
I just,
take your time. Breathe. Sit down before you fall down.
No, I can't. So, I just got, back from talking to Jasmine. You remember Jasmine? You talked to Jasmine.
I remember Jasmine.
Okay. We have a problem. I have a problem. I can't, So you remember that, explosion? When, Porter, vibes working at the controls on the console. When I, at Reddington's machine?
Joshua's got a confused look on his face, but nods. Yeah?
I think, no. Well, I say I think, but she thinks, but the result's the same either way, whether it's that because of that or not, but, I can't do anything anymore.
You mean you're quitting the agency? You can't do anything anymore? I mean, you're done now that you finished off Samuel's plans?
Maybe I won't be able to stay in the agency. But no, that's not what I'm talking about. I can't I can't jump through shadows. I can't pull things out of my pocket. I can't make things explode with cards. I don't have my abilities anymore.
Okay, relax. This is a blessing for you.
How is it a blessing? There's something hunting me and I don't even know what it is and it's super powerful, but I don't have anything to defend myself with.
Porter. Most people don't have that gift. And those that...
Most people don't have Wild Bill hunting them.
Wait, what?
She said Wild Bill is going to be hunting me. Or something this may be Wild Bill. I don't know.
Well, if Wild Bill's hunting you, that's going to cause quite the commotion, and we're going to know when he's coming because everybody knows what he looks like.
But she said he's not always Wild Bill, that he's sometimes something else, and it's really weird, and I don't know, and I have nothing to defend myself with.
I don't know how to reassure you at this moment. You're a mortal man, just like the rest of us. You can defend yourself with firearms. I've seen your courage. You walked into an encampment full of armed men as a distraction.
But I could get away anytime I wanted to. They couldn't stop me then. Now
Now you'll just have to be a little more cautious.
Now I'm worse than when we first met.
Porter, you're young. I think you're a little overreacting on this. I still think this is a blessing because, you know, they hang people and they burn people for this type of gift. You don't have to hide anymore now. It'll be okay. We'll get through this. We'll figure this out. Just...
Porter goes and sits on the edge of a bed. Just sort of staring down at the ground.
You know, Samuel didn't have any of your gifts either, right? Would you call him useless? I don't have any of your gifts. Would you call me useless?
So you start saying that, and Porter looks up, and he's looking around. He's trying to find something, and he spots it sitting over on the counter. And he just grabs that burst gun that he got, or that ray gun that he got from Samuel. It's like, Samuel didn't have any gifts. Well, he has one less now.
Seeing that that's making him feel better and at least calming him down, Joshua will pull the goggles off of his hat and toss them over to Porter too.
Porter's looking at the gun. It hits him in the chest. Thunk. He's like, when did you... Wait, are these Samuels?
Yep. Knight shot him in the back of the head. Of course, that didn't take too well, I guess.
He's sort of inspecting them, looking at them. These aren't normal. Have you ever worn them?
Nope. Just a trophy.
The good thing we you brought that up. We'll have to figure out what we're gonna do with the agency. This was a one-off thing, remember?
Yep.
We signed up just to deal with... Wait, are we still signed up? Cause we'll have to talk to Ingersoll.
I think the military term is awaiting orders.
But we were only supposed to do one thing. Did we do the one thing, or did we not do the one thing?
That's for them to decide. And that one thing might be several more things to add up to the one thing. Sometimes when they get the hooks into you, they keep the hooks into you. Now, why don't you just stay up here, take it easy, and try not to worry so much.
I don't think Joshua knows what big of a task he's asking of Porter there.
I'll Joshua will leave the room, close the door, and he'll go down and have some food and a bottle taken up to the room for Porter. And then Joshua will head back out to the porch of the hotel.
And finish up his work on the cylinder.
Pulled out the oiled cloth that the cylinder is in. Takes the lamat apart to pull the cylinder that's currently loaded in it. Puts the one in the oiled cloth in. Gives it a spin. Kind of feels the weight in his hand before he puts it back in the holster underarm next to his heart and just kind of taps it a little bit.
As you do that, you don't know if it's just your mind playing a trick on you or if it's actually happening, but you feel a warmth begin at the point of contact from where the holster touches your chest, and it begins to spread throughout your body. You can feel it very sharply in contrast to the cold, crisp air that is out here as you sit on the porch. Or as you're sitting there and the warmth is spreading over your body, you let your mind wander and it drifts back to a time when you met with an individual that Ingersoll actually turned you on to. And he was an Irishman, probably going to end up regretting trying to do an Irish accent, by the name of Seamus O'Fadden. And he was a smith who, for sure, Ingersoll felt would be able to help you take the pendant and everything and turn it into what you wanted to turn it into. And so you tracked him down. Was actually in his smith. He wasn't working at this particular time. He was actually sitting there reading as you walk into his shop. And he's got his boots up on the counter on one of his workbenches, and there's a pair of spectacles on. They're down his nose somewhat as he kind of lowers the book that he's reading and looks at you as you walk in. Hey, can I help you there?
You Seamus?
I'm he.
You came highly recommended for a special job.
Well, I try and do good work all the time. Who recommended you? Or recommended me?
Man named Ingersoll.
Oh, Derek, yeah, I know Derek. What, well, if he recommended you, it must be something really special here.
Joshua will turn around and lock the door behind him, if he can.
There's a little drop-down bar. You turn around from locking it, and he's got a gun pointed at you. Now, if you'd be looking to try and rob me, I would recommend not doing that, friend.
Let's just say you best not be disturbed while we discuss this matter.
Oh. So they're actually here to talk to me about something. And it must be important.
Joshua's got a somber look on his face, almost dead eyes as he's looking at Seamus. You ever lost something so important to you that you'd do anything to get it back? Or to make it right?
He lowers his feet off the workbench, and he puts the gun on there, turns around, pulls out a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses, sets them on the workbench, and pours a shot in each one. This is from my home county. And yes, I have. Very deeply. Right here. And he points at his heart.
Then you'll appreciate that I've sworn off any alcohol until this gets done. And I'll kind of push the glass back towards him, reach in my pocket and pull out a small tin that's got a leaf on it, and open it up and start slowly pulling out the items contained in it. A photograph of me and Abigail, a tintype. There's a small silver charm bracelet that's got various assorted charms on it, and a monogrammed lace handkerchief that's got some dried henbit flowers in it and a lock of hair. And he will Joshua will spread this out on the workbench. And he will pick up the tintype photograph and hand it over to Seamus.
She's beautiful.
He'll look at him and go, yes, she was. Most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Now, I'm sure you've heard folk stories about monsters that take things from us. Well, I need to kill a monster.
He takes a well, he's already drank his glass, so he takes your glass and he pulls it. Now it's becoming clear to me. I see why Ingersoll sent you this way.
Joshua pulls out one of his lamats, pops out a cylinder, and sets it down on the counter. It's like, would like to make maybe a special cylinder for killing this monster. And I think we can use the ingredients here so that the silver and the love that's imbued in these items could do its worst against this thing so consumed with hate.
And if you don't mind me asking, friend, what's your reason for this? This monster, did it kill the love of your life here?
And more. Still rampages around, taking other people's loves, families, causing mayhem.
So you're out to dispense not only revenge, but a little bit of justice as well.
Yeah, some things really shouldn't exist in our world. There's no room for them.
Well,
some things just need killing.
On that point, we do see eye to eye. I'll help you with this, but and let me tell you, this is not the first time that I've done something of this nature. It's part of the reason why Derek sent you my way. But let me tell you something, friend. First of all, I appreciate the fact that you are swearing off the whiskey until after this is done. But it tells me your heart's in the right place. But when do you use this? And he looks you in the eye, and he becomes deadly serious at this point. But when you go use this, you've got to make sure your heart's in the right place. Otherwise, that's just another bullet. It means nothing. And then it just becomes just another tool to kill with. Do you understand what I'm telling you?
I'll ponder those words.
The love you're feeling now is the love you gotta feel when this happens. Don't be swayed. But I'll get to work on it. I'm assuming we got some time.
Yeah. She got about a week.
That should be plenty of time. You want just the cylinder.
There's 9 charms there. That should make 9 rounds. Now, for that center shot in the Lamat. I heard rumor of something called Dragon's Fire.
Want to put a little bit of something extra in there, eh?
Well, there is that room for a shotgun blast.
Yeah. That'll match. She's a fine weapon. Let me ask you. And this is, I guess, the most important fact of the matter. Who's paying for all this?
What's the price tag?
I'll probably know better once I get it done. We're gonna have to put some pure silver in this too, just for good measure. And I'll have to go talk to Father O'Leary as well to get a little bit of holy water in there. But him and me were like this.
You are the expert.
Aye, that I am.
Might use a little bit of her hair and some of the lace handkerchief for packing and wadding.
And it looks like there's enough here that we might be able to get rid of, or might be able to make use of that in that way. But I'm going to have to probably take some to weave it into the molding for the cylinder. She needs to, in essence, wrap herself around what's coming out of it.
She always did have a warm embrace.
There, now you got it. You keep those thoughts in your head. See me in a week. We'll get this taken care of for you.
I appreciate your candor and your concern. Joshua looks down at the bottle, shakes his head, starts to turn to leave.
Yeah, just so you know, you're turning your back on some fine Irish whiskey, not this corn crap they serve over here in the States. My cousin sent this to me. I don't share it lightly, but I understand where you're coming from.
Now, perhaps you'll give me a second chance at a toast when this gets done.
You come back here, and we'll call it a date.
Well, I don't know about that, sir. We'll call it something.
Fair enough. So it's later in the evening. The sun has just gone down. It's still kind of crisp in the air. There's maybe even a few scattered snowflakes that are falling, but it's not a snowstorm or anything by any means. But there's a light, occasional flake here and there. The street lights are all lit, and Porter, you've eaten your meal, you've calmed down a little bit, or have been able to at least distract yourself enough from everything that you just went through earlier in the day to just kind of just spend some time getting some fresh air, and you and Joshua are kind of just walking the street or streets of Denver in an effort to just kind of get some nice fresh air, clear your heads, that kind of thing, because you're not really collectively sure what you're going to do next. And as you are walking up ahead, you can hear a street barker, and he's busily trying to get people to go down this certain street. And as you get closer, you can hear him, and he starts his words come into earshot, and he says, yes, that's right, my friends. Come and marvel and be amazed at the wondrous sights and sounds of Professor Eustace Batch's spinning phantasm of mystery. Hear tales untold from the far east and the near west. All are sure to be amazed. And he points even at the two of you. He says, an experience powered by new science and the old, creating memories that would last a lifetime and teach you, and he points directly at you, Joshua, and teach you the true lessons from the mistakes of your past. Right this way, gentlemen, ladies, in through that tent there, grab a seat while you still can, to again experience the mystery, the fun, the amazement of Professor Eustace Batch's spinning phantasm of mystery.
Roll up, come and see the show.
fate calling you out, Porter. I don't know what is.
And Porter was only half listening to it. he sort of looks up. He's just holding his cards in his hand. He's not really. He didn't bring any of the gadgets with him. He left them back in the hotel. He's like, "What? Fate calling? What? What are you talking about?"
We're gonna take your mind off this, Porter. We're gonna see a show.
And you look over and you see it's in this space. It's an empty lot. It's like a large canvas tent that has been set up. And sure enough, there are people that are going into there. There's a couple of people right at the entrance, and it looks like they're collecting the 2 bits it costs for 2 people to go in, and people are slowly filing in. You pay your 2 bits, you drop your coin into the little cup, and they direct you in.
It's cheaper than visiting Wild Bill's thing.
Well, let's see what these snake oil salesmen are peddling. It should be entertaining, though.
Inside, there basically, it looks like it's almost a 2-sectioned tent of sorts. And so there's several rows of chairs, stools, mismatched, all kind of set up, but it's organized by rows, and you were able to find 2 where you can sit next to each other. Then there's a piece of canvas or 2, and you can easily tell there's another section of the tent behind this sheet of canvas. And eventually everybody sits in, gets settled. There's a few lamps in the corners that are providing enough of a glow. The entrance that you came through shuts in the sense that they just kind of drop that portion of the tarp behind. Then this woman comes out from behind that screen-like canvas, and she is dressed in an interesting sort of combination of gendered clothes. So she has on like fancy suit pants that a man might traditionally wear, and then her upper garments are very reminiscent of like a formal gown, but it all seems to kind of work together in this nice sort of blend. And her hair is all styled and done up properly, but she bears an aura of sophistication around her. And she says to all of you, the crowd and everyone, she says, "Good evening. I am Professor Eustace Batch. I have studied in England, spent time with the learned minds in our own fair city of New York. I have visited the castles of Europe and the halls of wisdom and healing in Geneva. And I've traveled the mountains of the Far East and visited strange and wondrous lands. But you're not here necessarily to learn about me, but I want to tell you this just so it provides a better perspective as to what we're about to experience. I was on an expedition in Norway, and I ran across this old woman in this small village. We had a bit of a language barrier, but we were able to communicate enough, and she showed me this lamp of sorts. And as we spoke, she began to tell me about how she had the ability to commune and speak with the pagan gods of the Norsemen. And she showed me this lamp, and around the curve of the lamp were a number of images. Each image had a story to tell, and the old woman, she had a song that went along with each of these images. Now, she was kind enough and generous enough to allow me to take these images, copy them, and I turned them into what you will soon witness here within the spinning phantasm of mystery. And according to the woman, each image here has a story to tell of its own, which is personal to each and every one of you. No one person here will leave this place with the same story. But then again, that's part of the mystery. Now, She was also generous enough to allow me to learn the music that went along with each image. So what you will see here, my fine ladies and gentlemen of Denver, is something few people in this country have seen. Something from the old world and the old gods of the Northmen. So listen close, breathe deeply, and learn. And she gives a short bow, and she disappears back behind the curtain, and you see little assistants. They run to each of the individual lamps and they turn them down to their lowest setting, so it's just a very, very low glow on the floor of this makeshift tent theater. And then drums begin to beat from behind the curtain. It's very rhythmic, and a light flashes up on the screen, and it's, of course, you know how a magic lantern works. The drums are beating. This first image comes up, and you notice almost a haze of sorts begins to start to fill the tent. The first image comes up, and it shows a very young person. They have a weapon in their hand. Porter, maybe to you it looks like maybe a deck of cards. Joshua, to you it probably looks like a gun. Now, strangely, and you guys have seen magic lantern shows before, and it's always been a solid image accompanied by music. But the drums begin to speed up a bit. Some additional elements come in, some stringed instruments, a flute maybe, and maybe some low human droning. But then strangely, this image of this person with a weapon in hand, it begins to move slightly. You begin to get the sense that the person in this image is learning what it means to be a warrior. The lamp rotates and the next image shows up, and it shows a hero facing a decision whether to choose light or dark. The fog begins to creep in a bit more inside this tent. The lantern spins again. The image moves once more, and the hero makes a choice. Or they choose dark. Porter, why do you think this hero that you saw has chosen dark?
For Porter, that's easy, because he needed power to save someone.
Joshua, why do you think this hero chose dark?
Because they were young and they thought the price of other people's pain was cheap, not realizing that it was actually a hard price.
The image turns again. The mist begins to thicken, the music changes, and the image, still image, begins to move again. And you see that this hero, they gain fame and they gain glory, but you can see that the dark is always there. But as this still image moves, the hero learns that those things really hold no value without love. The lantern spins again. The music changes. Fog creeps in more. The hero is wounded by someone who chose light. They escape from this wound, or they escape from this fate. But they are extended an undeserved hand of love from a stranger. The still image moves again, and the hero returns that love. The image flips again, the tone of the music changes into a more sinister type of tone, and the droning becomes low and a bit menacing, more fog. The dark, though, which has always been there, returned and then consumes the hero in the next image, not allowing them to escape its clutches. The hero commits a grave sin. Porter, what is the sin that the hero in your story has committed that's so grave?
With all the power the dark gave them, they still couldn't save the one they gained the power for initially.
Joshua?
As the hero was trying to strike down the dark, they struck down the one made of light that offered love instead.
The lamp spins another time, and you see the next image. It shows the hero fleeing and then wandering aimlessly, lost until the image spins again. A path of redemption opens up before the hero in the form of a friend, and the shapes in the backlit lamp continue to move, showing that this friendship, as time goes on, grows stronger and stronger. The music changes again, and the next image turns, and you hear a squeak from somewhere behind the canvas as the lantern turns. The fog has now become somewhat thick, but in this image you can still make out through the mist. It shows the hero facing another choice: to right a past wrong by sacrificing the friend, or sacrificing themselves, or, and the fog thickens even more, you think in your mind maybe there's a third choice. But as you're trying to figure out what that third choice might be, that image vanishes. And then the two of you look around as you've gotten kind of swept up in this story and in this music, and the music even itself begins to fade. You realize that the crowd around you has also vanished, and that you are now surrounded completely by the fog, the music just barely in the background. And you turn and look back towards the screen, and that the images have begun to spin faster and faster, creating this strange blurred thing of all of these things happening at once and repeating again and happening at once and repeating again. As the images continue to spin faster and faster and the smoke is there, a figure appears to be moving through the smoke, and it comes clear into your field of vision. And for you, Joshua, it's the two-faced woman. For you, Porter, it has a appearance of the creature that has done so many sinister things to you over time. The lamp continues to spin rapidly, just faster and faster and faster, until it is just a blur of light and black, back and forth. And creating in the fog and around you just a strange like menagerie of shadows, striking these poses where they're all like closing in on the two of you, with hands reaching out, seeming to grasp and wanting to take you in. And you're starting to almost feel like an internal panic, and then suddenly there's like a popping noise, like when a bulb bursts, but it sounds magnified. The music immediately dies, and your eyes blink shut with the explosion of the bright pop. And when they open, the fog has cleared, and you each stand alone. Well, I doubt this is actually part of the show. What it is and why it is, we'll possibly find out in our next issue. Principium Indulgentia. The part of Porter Holt is played by Brad Smith. Joshua Young is played by Brent Rich, and your intrepid marshal is played by Chris Hussey. This game references the Savage Worlds game system available from Pinnacle Entertainment Group at peginc.com. It is unofficial media content permitted under the Media Network Content Agreement. This content is not managed, approved, or endorsed by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Certain portions of the materials used are the intellectual property of Pinnacle, and all rights are reserved. Savage Worlds, all related settings and unique characters, locations, logos, and trademarks are copyrights of Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Thanks also to Fear the Boot. Support their Patreon at patreon.com/feartheboot. Intro music by Half-Deaf Clatch. Exit music by Beelzebub Jones. Some sound effects by Plate Mail Games. Contact information for the cast as well as music links can be found in the notes on our website, youngandholt.com. If you enjoy these issues, please consider dispensing a lovely 5-star review on wherever you do listen from. Please search for Fear the Boot Actual Play. It's very kindly appreciated. If you listen on YouTube, please like and leave a comment. And as always, tell a friend or three about the show. I'm Ernest Wick for the Tombstone Epitaph. And remember, those who have clenched fists cannot shake hands.
My life is dreaming. If this is the end, what is waiting for me? Is it damnation? A man in white shot me down.